Welcome back to Team Guides. This is the second part, so make sure you watch the previous video first. Now let's go through the rest of the team's path to dodgebolt. Cyan Coyotes. For the first team of part 2 we have the Cyan Coyotes. In it we have one of the rare instances of Pizza Hut without his trusty teammate Grian, and instead of Grian to help him along this time we have two people the pizza crust duo have teamed with before, in the Littlewood and Ryguy Rocky. Rounding out the team is the extremely well-awaited newcomer Good Times of Scar, to perform the best his first MCC. The rest of the team will be there to help him along his first MCC, and Scar's amazing energy will certainly bolster the team's chemistry and vibes. An interesting quirk you find when looking at Cyan's game scores is that most of their games lie in the 1000 to 1200 coin region, but there are 3 select games that go down to around 800, Sky Battle, Parkour Tag and Grid Runners, actually giving them the lowest score in one game across the entire event in their Sky Battle score. This is mainly because all 4 players on the team all have similar strengths, lying in games like Build Mart or Sands of Time, while those 3 games are generally quite bad for them. There are of course exceptions. Pete doesn't do the worst at Sky Battle, Martin the same with Parkour Tag, and Ryguy actually has an extremely high Grid Runner score, but those 3 games are where the team's weaknesses lie overall. The best way to counter this is to just not play those 3 games, but if that's not possible, Cyan will need to rely on their extremely good teamwork and communication skills in all 3 games to power them through. Another big factor in his team is actually going to be Pete. Looking at his Season 2 events thus far, he's been extremely variable, going from getting first place in some of the highest individual scores in MCCs 14 and 17, to only around 10th place in his other events. And as the leader of the team, how well they perform as a whole will be heavily reliant on how Pete does individually. However, there's reason to believe that this will be another of Pete's amazing pop-off events. Comparing this team to MCC 14 Purple Pandas, where Pete came first individual and the second highest individual score of Season 2, we see that the team composition and structure is actually remarkably similar. The Pete and Martin duo stays the same, with 2 similar skill level swaps, with Green being replaced by Ryguy and Ollie being replaced by Scar. Now let's take a look at the distributions, where again we see something interesting happening. Every placement between 2nd and 10th is not too far apart in probability, ranging from 6% to 16.5%. So even though their most likely placement is lower down the list at 9th, there's pretty much the same chance of them getting 10th as them making it to dodgebolt, showing just how important the 3 bad games makes the game order for them. Aqua Axolotls. H-Bomb is back after missing MCC 19, and he's got a strong squad with him. Antfrost and 5UP are back together for the 3rd time, and of course Ant is still cursed to be on the Aqua team. Joining this trio is Gemini Tay, who has teamed up with H once before in MCC 18. 3 of these people have never won before, but this event we could very well see that changing. These 4 teammates will have amazing chemistry, as they've all talked to each other a good amount when VOD reviewing. This is a team that spends a lot of time studying other people's perspectives of MCC to try and improve themselves, and they especially love watching Sands of Time. It therefore comes to nobody's surprise that this is an absolutely terrifying team for Sands of Time, being potentially the best we've seen in Season 2. They all do substantially better than their average, and it's a top 4 game for all of them. Aqua's average in this game is the 3rd best for any game in the event, only being 4 coins behind the 2nd best. Ant and H in particular are the 3rd and 4th best in the event respectively, but this whole team does outstanding in it. The only potential issue this team has is picking a Sandkeeper, because everyone is such a good runner, but even then there's no doubt that any of the people on this team would make a great Sandkeeper, and a lack of experience probably wouldn't faze them due to how much they VOD review. Given a good enough seed, this team definitely has the potential to break the Season 2 point record for Sands of Time. Something interesting about the Aqua Axolotls is that for the majority of the games, 2 people will be above their average and 2 people below their average. This isn't true for Sands of Time, Grid Runners, Parkour Tag and Hole in the Wall, but for the rest of the games it's 2 above and 2 below. This means that the Axolotls will, the majority of the time, have 2 people able to lead the team and coach the others, which could prove to be a huge advantage. Additionally, Aqua has at least 1 member of their team performing above their average in every game, meaning this team has no glaring weaknesses. This is proof that this team really covers each other's weaknesses and is an extremely balanced composition. If we take a look at the distribution, we'll see that Aqua gets into dodgebolt nearly 10% of the time, However, seeing as their worst game is parkour tag, and that is commonly skipped or played near the start, and that they are the best team by far in Sands of Time, which is usually played near the end, Aqua are definitely more likely to win this event than the distribution is saying. If parkour tag is played early or skipped, and Sands of Time is played late in the event, Aqua's chances increase to over 35%. This team is one you definitely don't want to count out. If you like this video, make sure to like the video and subscribe. We love making content like this, and subscribing helps us keep doing it. Bluebats. The Bluebats features a returning participant who has not played since MCC 16, Preston. His return has been much anticipated after a fantastic debut performance. Joining him are his previous teammates from his first ever MCC, one of the strongest players in the event, Quig. This duo was extremely close to winning MCC 15, being second before a survival games finale destroyed their chances. But now they're back for redemption, as they have a player who got into dodgebolt last MCC due to an amazing performance in survival games and the event as a whole. Awesome dude. While Sam didn't have the best start in his first event, in MCC 19 he was able to get an incredible placement of 12th. Rounding off his team is the Orion Sound, a player who really showed his potential in the first event of Season 2, getting 23rd, and has continued to show his strength in games such as Hole in the Wall. This is a team that could definitely prove to be a dark horse, as they have many strong players, but some haven't played in a while or are still relatively new to the event. This team's best game is Sky Battle, and it's not even close. In fact, Blue has the highest scoring game for any team in the event. Quig has the highest individual average for Sky Battle, as well as the second highest average for any person in any game. It's Sam and Preston's third best, and Ollie's second best by just 2 coins. Although Preston and Sam's sample size is very small, this team is still extremely scary, and if it's played late, we could see them soar up the leaderboard given that this is one of the highest scoring games. Another game that Blue would benefit from being played late is parkour tag. While Sam has never played it before, and Quig does about average, Ollie has this as his third best. But what makes this team really shine in parkour tag is Preston. Both times that Preston has played it, he's come top 4 individually, and first as a team, and so he has the best score in the whole event. Unfortunately, parkour tag and Sky Battle are 2 games that are commonly either skipped or played early, so the Bluebats will need to beat the odds and try their best to get these games played late. The X factor of this team is definitely Preston. Having only played twice, and with his last event being in August, he might need a little time to get used to the games again, but he's definitely got lots of potential. Preston was able to get an incredible placement of 12th, the best individual placement of a newcomer since Sapnap in MCC 7. His performance in MCC 16 was also extremely solid, having some great games like getting 4th in parkour tag or 6th in Sky Battle. The Bluebats gain to dodgebolt around 35% of the time according to our simulation. Their most common placement is 2nd. Their optimal game order has 2 movement games skipped and another played very early, which could pose a problem as their worst game, Ace Race, is always played when possible, and is usually with a 2.5 times multiplier. The games they want late also not regularly played late, and so the biggest struggle for Blue will probably be in the Decision Dome, trying to beat the odds and utilise their power-ups as best they can. Purple Pandas. Similarly to the last team, the Purple Pandas have another returning player who has missed the last couple of MCCs, Ponk. With him are 2 of the winners of the first ever MCC, Dave Kratzy and Kara Corvus. Dave is an extremely consistent player, always placing in the top half, and Kara has amazing communication which allows her to excel at games like Big Sales at Buildmart and Sands of Time, in the role of Sandkeeper. Fittingly, as there's 2 people whose only win was in MCC 1, the final person on this team is Sneaksnack, who got his first win in the last MCC. Sneak has consistently shown that he's a great player, being the best on his team in his debut, to improving by 22 places in MCC 18, to winning in just his 3rd event in MCC 19. This is a team that has potential to surprise a lot of people and climb up the leaderboards. Purple are an extremely strong BattleBox team. Dave is one of the best players, being 3rd on average in this event, getting 1st individual and tying the kill record in All-Stars on a team that wasn't predicted to do that well, as well as being the first person to get 2 9 out of 9s. Kara does above average here, and this is Sneak's best game, as he had amazing performances in MCC 18, and particularly MCC 19, being a part of the Teal Turkey's 9 out of 9. but with a strong team like this to guide him, he has a high likelihood of placing well. This team's also very strong in grid runners, being the best in the event at it. While unfortunately Grid Runners is the lowest scoring game, they still have an advantage over every other team, and so it's important to get this one played late. An important aspect this team needs to keep in mind is communication. Some of Ponk and Kara's best games are heavily team-based, while Sneak and Dave struggle in them, particularly Sands of Time and Build Mart. If this team wants to get into Dodgebolt, they definitely need to work on these games, as they are often played late in the event. Luckily, the trio of Dave, Kara and Sneak all know each other from SMP Live, with Dave and Kara having teamed multiple times before, so their chemistry will work wonderfully. Seeing how Purple stack up in the distributions, unfortunately Purple is the only team who don't have a game order where they can get to Dodgebolt, having their best placement as third. However, the simulation isn't completely accurate, as it said the same thing about Cerulean last MCC. Some of their averages are deceiving, such as Sneak and Ponk in Sands of Time, due to unfortunate circumstances in MCC 17 that were out of their control. Purple definitely aren't out of a race to Dodgebolt yet, and they could prove to be a scary dark horse. Pink Parrots. This team contains TommyInnit, who's coming off a fantastic 5th place individual and dodgebolt win in MCC 19. He's paired with JackManifold and Connor Eats Pants, two very chaotic teammates who are both looking for their first win. What turns this team from a fun content team into a dodgeball contender is their 4th member, Fruitberries. Fruit has lost the past 3 MCCs in dodgebolt, and is looking for redemption as the voice of reason amidst the chaos. This team is not Fruitberry's usual sort of team, as he's never teamed with any of these people before this event. However, with some solid strategy and good teamwork, this team could bring Fruit back to Dodgebolt, this time on the winning side. This team is one of the biggest PvP threats in the event, and stands out as the best survival games team. Fruit is an absolute monster at SG, holding the 2nd highest average narrowly behind Sapnap. However, Fruit's performances may even be better than the numbers suggest. Fruit died super early in MCC 14, and then managed to kill himself with lava and immediately in MCC 15. Remove those 2 outliers, and Fruit's SG score goes from a narrow second to Sapnap to the best individual game score for any player in any game by more than 100 coins. The rest of his team is no slouch either, with Tommy and Connor both doing very well in SG. This is Pink's game to lose, barring another very early Fruit death. Another one of their strong games is Sky Battle, where they're second in the event behind Blue. Tommy and Fruit are 2 of the strongest Sky Battle players in the event, making this the team to watch in Sky Battle. While Pink certainly has its strengths, it does also have some glaring weaknesses. Pink places dead last by almost 100 coins in Battlebox, Build Mart and Sands of Time. These 3 games are the biggest obstacle to Pink making Dodgebolt and should be avoided at all costs. In fact, if these 3 games are played in Game 2 or later, this team's chances at Dodgebolt drop from over 2% to under 0.02%. This team could do better than the numbers suggest, but they should try playing these games early or skipping them altogether if possible. Outside of game order, the biggest factor to Pink's success is JackManifold. Jack's performances have been a bit all over the place, placing as high as 20th in MCC 16 and as low as 39th in MCC 18. Jack seems to play a bit all or nothing. Aside from his first event, he's either placed in the top 25 or the bottom 5, with no placements in between. When looking at Jack's good and bad events, a pattern emerges. In all, he scores more coins in the first half of the event than the second. The inverse is true for his weaker performances, meaning the key to Jack doing well is starting off hot. Obviously the sample size is small here, and the order in which games are played matters as well, but it may be worth playing a momentum game early to get Jack off to a good start. This team's distribution is pretty spread out. They have about a 2% chance to make it to Dodgebolt, with most of the game orders placing them between 4th and 10th. However, if this team can avoid team games and get off to a good start, this team has insane pop-off potential and might just make Dodgebolt.